We begin our look at sports from the BronxNet Sports Desk, where I couldn't have been more wrong about Super Bowl 52. Although it was a close game, as I predicted, it was nowhere near the low-scoring affair I had in mind, let alone a three-point game. And for that matter, the New England Patriots weren't the usual Pats. Instead, it was the Philadelphia Eagles and once reserve quarterback Nick Foles looking very Brady-esque. You had to think that Brady and the Pats were going to do it again, come from behind with a little over 2 minutes left and only needing a touchdown to win. But a strip fumble on the NFL great allowed the Eagles to recover and pad the lead. And even though Brady had one final crack at the end zone, it was too little, too late. Eagles 41, Patriots 33. Many will second-guess some of the moves by Bill Belichick, most notably the pregame benching of Malcolm Butler, the defensive standout and the hero of the Super Bowl just a few seasons ago. He has denied reports that marijuana and women's Super Bowl week led to his benching. His absence, in my book, added to the perfect storm that allowed Philly to win its first title. Philadelphia's first Super Bowl parade stepped off Thursday as hundreds of thousands of Eagle fans jammed the city's main thoroughfare to celebrate an NFL title many of them never thought they'd see. Fans clad in Eagles green lined up 20 deep in spots to catch a glimpse of the champs. Bundled up against freezing winds, some fans from New Jersey walked across the nearly 2-mile long Benjamin Franklin Bridge just to get into the city. The Eagles won a shootout Sunday night by slipping off their underdog masks and playing like they had nothing to lose. The Patriots weren't out-schemed. They weren't overwhelmed by a dominant defensive line as they were during their Super Bowl defeats against the New York Football Giants. They were out-executed. Bill Belichick's team made sloppy mistakes throughout the game and left the door open just wide enough for the Eagles to fly on in. Doug Peterson's team didn't win the Super Bowl as a result of the Patriots' mistakes. The Eagles won because they executed in many of the exact ways in which the Patriots specifically struggled. I think you can make a reasonable case that this was the best offensive performance in any loss in NFL history, let alone Super Bowl history. When talking about the Patriots, the big number here is 600. The Patriots became the first team in league history to rack up at least 600 yards in a game and lose. They posted 613. The 600 club had previously gone a combined 38-0-1 before Sunday, with the previous record for most yards in a defeat coming when the San Francisco 49ers racked up 598 yards in a 34-31 loss to the Buffalo Bills in September of 1992. The Patriots never had to punt on Sunday. They scored 6 times, missed a field goal, had a drive end on downs, fumbled away the ball, and had a possession at the end of the conclusion of each half. Teams occasionally lose without punting, but it's usually because they turn the ball over a bunch. The Pats turned the ball over only once, and that one time loomed large enough to make the underdog Eagles the Super Bowl champs. Wrong prediction aside, it was a great game. Brady will have to wait for ring number 6, perhaps until next year. He and the Pats are early favorites to win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl champion Eagles, for whatever reason, are number 2 on that list. It remains to be seen what Philly will do with Foles. The Yankees, meanwhile, went out and got themselves a Super Bowl winning quarterback this week. Yes, you heard me right. The Texas Rangers on Wednesday traded Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson to the Yankees for future considerations. Wilson, a 4-time Pro Bowler, is expected to appear at the Yankees Grapefruit League camp in Tampa, Florida, sometime in February or March. The 29-year-old has no plans to emulate Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson and try to reinvent himself as a two-sport athlete, sources say. But he's maintained his love for baseball and wants to continue his ties to the sport, especially for the Yankees, a team he and his family have long adored. Speaking of quarterbacks to cash in, how about Jimmy Garoppolo's monster contract? The San Francisco 49ers inked Jimmy to a 5-year extension just days after he gets a cut of the Patriots' losing pot. The contract numbers are eye-popping, but the 49ers are betting that the QB will only get better and will be the centerpiece to build around. 5 years, $137 million. Oh boy, party at Jimmy's house, Rena. In boxing, the great Roy Jones Jr. went out a winner Thursday night. After 29 years as a professional boxer, winning world titles in 4 weight divisions and having 75 fights, the legend and former pound-for-pound king bowed out with a one-sided rout of journeyman Scott Sigmund in their cruiserweight bout. Jones had always said that his final fight would be at home in Pensacola, Florida, and he gave his fans an entertaining performance at the Pensacola Bay Center, the same venue where he turned pro in 1989, and the main event of the first card to be streamed by UFC Fight Pass that also included boxing matches. Jones is among the best ever never to lace up the gloves, no doubt about it. As for the UFC, they have a big one coming up in New York in April. On April 7th at the Barclays Center, Khabib versus Ferguson will headline one of the two title fights on the night. Fans can log on to UFC.com for more info and to purchase tickets. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. The New York Mets made a splash this week, grabbing Yankee free agent third baseman Todd Frazier. A 2-year deal and $17 million was enough to entice the Todd father to switch boroughs. Thumbs down. Starting pitcher Zach Wheeler beat the Mets in salary arbitration and will get a raise from $800,000 to $1.9 million. Nice bump up there. 9 hours after the Indianapolis Colts announced Josh McDaniels as their next head coach, they confirmed McDaniels had decided to not accept the job and instead returned to the New England Patriots as their offensive coordinator. Shocked, surprised, and at a loss were how some inside the Colts organization described their reactions to the news. The team plans to resume the search immediately, but McDaniels' decision sparks plenty of questions in Indy. Big twist to the Super Bowl fallout. I would expect McDaniels to be next in line to replace Bill in New England. Someone will be replacing Darrelle Revis in Kansas City. Revis was released after a 6-game stint with the Chiefs. Revis, who was signed by KC in November but made little impact in 6 games, was cut on Thursday. On the ice, the New York Rangers are the top merchandise-selling team in the NHL, followed by the Penguins, Blackhawks, and first-year Golden Knights. But things are anything from peachy for the Broadway Blue Shirts, whose organization put out a letter to fans Thursday saying they will be sellers in a down season. Some big names could be on the move. The Rangers will host Calgary tonight at the Garden. Plenty of moves on the NBA hardwood Thursday. The NBA trade deadline was cooking. The Cleveland Cavaliers were wheeling and dealing. The team made 3 trades involving 4 teams, sending 6 players, 2 draft picks out the door for 4 players and 1 draft pick in return. As a result, the Cavs team that will take the floor in what could be LeBron James' final stretch with the franchise, should he bolt as a free agent in July, will look nothing like the Cavs team that has stumbled to a 7-13 record since Christmas Day. Coming to Cleveland, 25-year-old combo guard Jordan Clarkson from the Los Angeles Lakers. Athletic big man Larry Nance Jr., the son of a Cavs legend from the Lakers. Plus size, smooth shooting Rodney Hood from the Utah Jazz, and steady playoff-tested point guard George Hill from the Sacramento Kings. The moves certainly make Cleveland healthier, more athletic, and better on the defensive end. Look out for the Lakers down the line, too, folks. They will have cap space. Expect Magic Johnson to make some magic of his own in Hollywood. He has already said he will pursue 2 elite stars. Johnson, now the team president, said he remains confident the club will lure 2 stars to Los Angeles in this July's free agency, which could include LeBron James and Paul George. Back here in the Big Apple, the Knicks made a couple of moves of their own in the wake of the tragic Kristaps Porzingis news. More on that in just a moment. The Knicks sent KP's buddy Willie Hernan-Gomez to Charlotte for Johnny O'Bryant and 2 picks. An all-rookie first-team selection last season, Hernan-Gomez had fallen out of the Knicks playing rotation. His move to Charlotte may give him more of a chance to play, but he'll join a front court that features Dwight Howard, Frank Kaminsky, Cody Zeller, and others. O'Bryant, meanwhile, a power forward, is averaging 4.8 points and 2.6 rebounds in 10.5 minutes per game this season. Kristaps Porzingis is seeking a second opinion outside of the Knicks organization in wake of his torn left ACL, per sources. He is still expected to have surgery soon, but his desire to seek a second opinion is the reason he hasn't yet had the procedure. Expect KP to be sidelined up to 10 months. The only person in New York that benefited from the KP injury is Bronx boy Kimball Walker. The Charlotte Hornets guard has been named by NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to replace the injured Knicks forward on Team LeBron in the 2018 NBA All-Star Game, which will be played on Sunday, February 18th at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for 2 Knick moves that I actually like. The Knicks should finally be in total rebuild mode. The Knicks have acquired guard Emmanuel Mudiay as part of a 3-team trade that sends Devin Harris to the Nuggets and Doug McDermott to the Mavericks. The Knicks made the Mudiay trade official late last night. Open quote, "He is a young, athletic guard who we feel will be a valuable addition to the Knicks moving forward," close quote. GM Scott Perry said New York acquires a former top 10 pick in Moutier, who has a cap hit of $3.4 million and $4.3 million. The 21-year-old will be a restricted free agent in 2019. The move is a low-risk move for the Knicks based on the belief that Moutier can develop into a starting point guard in the future. The Knicks got crushed in their first game without KP. They lost 113-88 to Toronto Thursday night. Strong NBA debut for Luke Cornett, who had 11 points, 3 three-pointers, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 16 minutes. The Knicks should go totally young the rest of the way. I like these two players very much. I think they could be part of the team's long-term plans. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think of Moutier and Cornett. And do you ever see KP ever returning to the player he appeared to be ascending to be? That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.